Okay, welcome. Can anyone confirm if the sound is good? I think it is good, but let's see. Okay. Yes, sounds good, all good. Okay, perfect. So, welcome. I accidentally set the settings that it was for children, which made in which the chat was not available. So I had to restart it, but I believe everything is fine now. Let's wait a few minutes for some more people to join. The market is weak as fuck, so we can discuss what happened. We broke structure back to bearish right here. It took a few attempts, but eventually it was the bearish break structure. Then we invalidated this first demand, and now we are in the key demand. So interesting zone. However, we are dumping pretty aggressively, so I'm unfortunately not think we can catch a trade, because I always want to have like slower price action and not aggressive price action like this. I don't like to catch knives, so we can have an alert here. Right there, right there. Okay, so for the people that are watching, don't forget to leave a like to push the video a little bit. And don't forget to say something in the chat, so I know who is in here. Sup, guys? Welcome, Jeffy, Plubers, and Slatan Will. We'll start in a minute. Let's in the meantime see quickly what gold is doing. Okay, so I will also discuss gold, which was pretty interesting. Right now, I took a long just before the news and closed it after that push up, and now it's stalling a bit. Hi guys, good to see many people joining again. Chris, Pseudo Privilege, hi. Gaat goed bij mij. Ook met jou. Bijna weekend, is dat zo'n goed teken? En Wes de Vries, also welcome. Well, I think we can just start with, I will start with Bitcoin, and then if anyone has questions, just ask them in the chat. And can be about anything, can be about the stats, about Bitcoin, about an altcoin. Welcome Sanchez and Arno as well. Good to see so many people. So if we zoom out, we had this range which I have been talking about anytime. Range low, range high, and then this week we had this weekend, we had that war news that we dropped, held eventually it was here, and we deviated our value area low. Came back for that extreme point where we mitigated literally the extreme demand of that former fear point, and then we started to push up, basically where we had this internal uptrend, which, depending on which time frame you're on, we are still respecting. So this is a pretty interesting level, because if we look at the hourly, then we had a break of structure right here, because on the hourly, this is our structure with higher low, higher high, higher low. Here we have two candles going down, so then this is our higher high, higher low, higher high. So then this is clearly a 1 hour break of structure. However, if we go to the 2 hour, then this structure is not valid, And then this is our structure. So 2 hour and above, so let's say 4 hour, you can still expect technically a high, higher low, higher high, higher low, higher high, higher low, higher high. So that scenario is still in play. However, we have also the range high, and in a downtrend, every range should be treated as a distribution range, where we have this high. We deviated the high earlier this week, and now are moving back in the range. We are in demand, so this is a zone to keep an eye on. We are also right at the weekly VWAP, so pretty big level. However, we are below the value area high, and I just made a video before this where I said that this deviation can only truly be confirmed the moment we accept back in the value area high. Accept back in your value area high technically means that oftentimes you travel at least towards your value area low. And right now we are below the value area high. So either this becomes a really quick buyback, or this heavily increases the chance that this was the top and that any move from here will basically be a lower high before we go for all this sell side liquidity. And eventually for the range low right here, in my opinion. So that's the view. Big levels to watch are this demand we are currently in, because that's also the more important market structure. It is key demand, and then the most important supply is this range high supply. So let's zoom in on the lower time frame, what we have. So yesterday we had this local range where basically we had a little accumulation, which I played. Did not hit the technical target, but luckily I sold most there. And then we started basically the famous slow grind, which we have seen over and over lately, which is just weakness before falling over. We again had a super improbable London low right there. And our high was at hour 2. So this was our high, this was our low. High at hour 2 was potential strong high, and this low at hour 5 was super improbable. So I warned also in the group that this low probably will be taken out, and that my main interest was around this weekly VWAP and then the demand here. So eventually we also took out that London low, and then we started pushing down further. Let me clean it up a little bit. Where we had some news. Let's get rid of this. So what we had was basically this local downtrend right here. And then internal, this was also like, this is the main trend. However, internal, we had this lower low, lower high, and then aggressive sell-off. So basically this whole zone turned into a range supply. And then we had news at an hour before New York opened. So this was an hour ago. And there basically price retested this supply and then sold off further. So this is a mitigation right there. And then basically this last low high aggressive break created a new supply range. So this is new supply. So for the bullish case, for the time being, there is not really anything what I see. What I see is a lot of weakness, supply range. So either you break above this supply and then also break your internal structure back to bullish, then I can see higher prices. But for now, yeah, trend is down, bears are strong. So this looks pretty cooked for now. So a PY is this supply, which is potential for lower highs. And then we can watch, do we have, what is the most refined demand in this zone? And good to remember, this supply is now also located at our value area high. So this is a big zone. Reclaim above, and this is the next POI. But overall, it's looking pretty bad. And because we are in this bigger, can say range demand, I'm gonna look for refinements, which is on the 30. I see this pivot demand. So this is the demand. Let's clean this up. Extend this. And on the 15, do we have something? On the 15 here, we have this is the point of control of the range. There we have also clean demand. And then more locally, we also have demand here. So then I just pick that together. And then basically these are our demand zones. So alert here and alert here. But this is basically super weak. So for the time being, at least for shorts, it's too late right now. Shorts only make sense if we bounce here or here, in my opinion. And for longs, this is just too aggressive down. So then I always want to have like a range, maybe bounce from here, come here, then form a range during the weekend, for example, and then look for sweeps of belows, structure break, and then you can look for longs. But for now, this looks like for the time being, there won't be a fresh trade. And what it reminds me of, that's why I say like structure is important, because we broke this structure. However, if we look at the move from early this week, which was basically, this was Saturday, then we had this range, where we basically came here. This is the technical one, and then strong push up. And this is where everyone got bearish, basically. However, if you look at structure, this was the higher low for the high high. And oftentimes you get a really deep pullback, mitigating, which we did here as well, the extreme demand, so less demand remaining, and with local choppy price action, so that you think, this is a pure chop, this will, this is bad, and you forget that you are basically in this uptrend. So if we keep that in mind, then here we are also coming really deep, where we have this demand, and the lowest demand is here, which on the 2-hour time frame could technically still be our higher low for a higher high, technically. However, since we are pulling back so deep in the range, chances increase that we get a lower high and then potentially from there lower. But I still think we can look for bounces in here or here, and then look for shorts in this supply or that supply. So basically just unbiased longs from here, shorts from there. But for now, bears are really strong. Let's see, what was the point of control of this range. Yeah, so this is a super clean POI. This was basically the range before we broke up. So this whole range is range demand. However, if you want to refine it more, which I just did with this demand right there, this is gone, then oftentimes price comes back for the point of control. And if you have your range point of control aligning with a demand zone, which is the case right here, then that's a super interesting POI. So this is a level I'm interested in. However, yeah, we are having clear structure to the downside. So let's see, alert here. And also you never want to, at least what I don't want, which I learned the hard way, is you never want to catch knives. So you don't want to long here thinking that this could be the bottom, and then that always wait for structure. And then you can even look at the 1 minute. But now I'm on the 5 minute, and if you look at the 5 minute structure, it's this lower high, lower low. So then until you break at least above here, just don't touch longs. And if you really want to long, then go to the 1 minute. Then you will see that this is your structure. Lower high, lower low, lower high, lower low, lower high, lower low. But then still at least wait for your 1 minute structure to flip back to bullish. Otherwise you are fighting the trend and it's super dangerous. So let me look at the chat. My weekly VWAP is at 69942. Yeah, mine is gone right now, but I use the one from, can I show you? Yeah. Here. So I always use the one from MMT, which is at 69800 more or less. The weekly VWAP. But VWAP settings can differ because here, if I pull it from Monday 00. Oh, there it was. See, Monday 00. Then it's at 69330. But it depends how you pull it from here. Now I have from low to high. But you can also say from open. And then it's at 6970. But usually for the weekly, I just use the from MMT. And if I used anchored VWAPs, then I just do, let's say, from this high. Then I have the setting from high to low. Then this is my bearish VWAP. And if I draw it from the downtrend, then I take the low to the high. And then I set source on low. So then in this range from the uptrend, this is the bearish VWAP. And the bullish VWAP is this one, which we're tapping in right now. Was tracking to short certain tokens the whole range that at the area earlier this week, had everything ready and didn't take any, maybe lacking confidence or just bad execution. Learning though. Yeah, that can be painful. And like which coins? I, for example, missed Sol, which was a super clean, or at least not super, because it was basically a 4-tap model with like high 1, oh, high 1, high 2, high 3. So normally Wyckoff is 3 taps, but this one was like 4-tap. However, in that 4th tap, right here, we had super clean, like 1, 2, 3, a 3 drive. On the lower time frame, it's more clear. Where you have like a clean exhaustion into supply. And then even on the 5 minute, we had a bearish boss. So we had 1, 2, 3 drive. And then here you had your bearish boss. Then we came down. Then price came back for this supply. Again with 5 minute structure. So high, low, high, low, high. Which was the re-short. So here, this was the second short. But I didn't have my eyes on Sol during that time. So here you could have shorted it again. And then later on, it even gave a redistribution. Right here. Again with 1, 2, 3. Which also played out. Right here. And now price is just nuking lower. So a lot of short opportunities on Sol actually. And right now it's going for all this all this sell side liquidity. So yeah, I also missed this heavy short. And for Bitcoin, I also missed, like, I shorted the top, but it was more of a scalp at that point. Because what I just showed on Sol with that 3 drive is also what we saw on Bitcoin with the 1, 2, 3. And on Bitcoin, you even had, this was like on the lower time frame, but yet your 1, 2, 3, and then also here local structure, high, low, high, break of structure. And there were a lot of trapped longs right in this third tab. So I shorted it around here, stopped there, and then I closed it around the range high demand. Yeah, something like this. So the next morning, which was then more towards here. Yeah, the next morning I closed this short. But in hindsight, it was literally the top I shorted. But yeah, that's just part of the game. And if you're gonna be mad about it or keep sitting, yeah, keep reframing it in your mind, then it won't help you. It will only make you emotional and cause you to take stupid trades. Because my main expectation was for price to form a new range, and that this was our starting point of the range. You would later come back for that high, and this is where I was looking for heavy shorts if we got the confirmation. But this 3 drive was actually already the top, which just shows that we had like a super scammy move from super aggressive, and then just again a full reversal, which we have seen this bear market over and over again. However, I expect a little higher before lower, but you not always get what you expect. Right now we just keep nuking. I was checking Tau, ETH, and WLD mainly, but at least I am seeing that I am answering things. Yeah, that's the most important. As long as you understand and you see that you missed it, and that there was reasoning you could have taken it, that's the most important thing. Because a lot of times you, like here, you can see this move and then think, shit, I missed this move. But not every move is tradable. So you cannot trade every move. But if you make yourself go crazy for missing this, then yeah, that's just self-sabotaging. That makes no sense. However, there were certainly shorts present. Just like Tau, which I explained yesterday, it finally reached the range low. But yesterday it was here. Let's see. Which was also a clean short. Because we had this, if we zoom out a bit, basically an extended one. This was a high move above, but on the high time frame it stayed within the range. So 1, 2, model 2. And then also here locally a 1, 2, 3. So basically a model 2 and this was a model 1. Then price came back for this supply, or it even took extreme liquidity right there. Sold off again, and then I shorted it on this retest right here. Something like that. But yesterday we had a re-shorting opportunity where you had super clean liquidity, sell side liquidity right there. Price was trending down from here. So you had basically high, low, high, low. So anywhere between here is likely your lower high for a low low. And price took, again here, liquidity. and then broke the structure from low up. So here we broke it, and then this could have been the short opportunity. So you break from left to right, broke structure, retest, where you actually took out this extreme supply right there. Price came back in it and then sold off heavily. And right now we are potentially in a higher low zone, where I'm interested in basically this 1, 2, 3, model 2, which broke upward. This higher low for a higher high is my main expectation, but yeah, it can go deeper than here. But right now it's actually taking the range low, so this is an area where you can start looking for potential accumulation models. However, we have supply above right here to keep an eye on. But if we can get above that supply, then you have a pretty juicy liquidity curve. So either this comes up here, does this, then a model 1 type, or we get like an extended model. It can be in many shapes. It can also be a PO3 like this. But yeah, I'm just interested in potential longs, but it will take time. Let's see. So BTC tapped into the key demand and the range POC. So let's zoom in. Potential one, very local tree drive, but it's just weakness. So until you see buyers step in, which would be here is supply. So this is all very local, and don't do this if you have not scalped before. But the first sign of strength would be, of course, to break your downtrend. So very locally, this is your downtrend. Low, lower, high, lower, low, lower, high, lower, low, lower, high, lower, low. So this high right here is your market structure low. And you have supply right here, which means that if you break above here, you invalidate this supply, which is a sign of strength, and you break your internal downtrend back to bullish. That plus we tapped into this range POC and demand, and this could potentially be a deviation of that VWAP from low to high. So what I want to see now is clear strength, push above, and maybe during that strength you create demand. Then if you get a move back into demand, that will be potentially a long, in which this supply potentially flip zone. Until that happens, I'm not interested in trading for now. And then the next short PY is this level with this the more refined supply. Supply. But yeah, if we zoom out, then it can happen that you break your local here, but then I expect us to here. And seeing this just needs more time before we can get a meaningful bounce. Like I never like trend lines, but they can kind of give you an indication of how long it will take before you get a potential reversal. And if I look at it from this point, then I think there's a great chance that we till the weekend, maybe even Sunday, stay between here and here. And this is our range for the time being. Okay, so let's see. Good advice should definitely not replay too much onto the. Yeah, definitely. It's very important how you keep it, or how you talk to yourself in your mind. Because if you keep blaming yourself, that won't help you at all in your trading decisions. Yo, Casper, good to see you, brother. How are you doing? Bro, your hype entry, was it also on a retest without break structure? Because we were in confirmed distribution. Retest without. Yeah, it was without a local break structure indeed. But it was in confluence with BTC at that moment. Also, I don't remember exactly, but BTC, I was thinking about shorting. Oh, I shorted actually. Oh, that was right on the. It was on Tuesday on BTC. When BTC formed this tree drive, then I took the short on BTC and I saw hype on that retest. And then I took both because I was pretty confident that this was the local high before lower. And that retest on high was super clean. Also because we were indeed in a confirmed distribution. So then any retrace in supply can be an opportunity to just get into a short and then trade it lower. Oh, I hope the lag is not too bad. I don't know how I can fix that because the internet should be fast enough, but I think that's often the case with YouTube. It's a bit laggy. So yeah, basically, I think except really scalping opportunities that we gonna range on Sol. Yeah, also definitely needs time to form some sort of a range before we can push up. For now, super weak, like super weak. And on hype, yeah, also needs time. And that are basically my only crypto pairs, with including ETH. What is ETH doing? Yeah, so ETH also broke structure to bearish. Right here. Bearish break of structure. This supply is still remaining. And super deep pullback into demand, which is a sign of weakness. Normally, if you have clean demand, you don't want the price too deep into the level. And especially not this aggressive. During this move, price is also creating supply. So yeah, also ETH looks pretty cooked. And this is a really important level because below this demand, there's only liquidity. Basically from this low to that low. So let's see if we have refined demand, because at first sight this also looks just like liquidity. Have a local zone there. Yeah, I would say this is the only true demand, because below here this is also all just liquidity. So it's currently at the key, putting an alert here and here. Yeah, this also looks cooked. You can potentially scalp this, but before this will give a new setup, for me at least, it needs to start ranging. Now what is gold? Ooh, that is super clean. Here was no lag at all. So, oh yeah, maybe it's also it could also be that people there own the internet, of course. So let's see. What is the lowest time frame, the highest time frame setups you have taken, and the most epic legendary setup? The lowest time frame is like 1 minute or sometimes even 30 seconds. Highest time frame was back when I was more of a, I would not say investor because I was just a crypto degen, which bought tokens which were trending on Twitter. But back in the days that worked. So then I just bought it and held it for months, very long time, hoping that it would make me rich. But that was not really trading. For like real trading, I think my longest holds have been maybe 2 weeks, but oftentimes I don't hold them longer than a day, maximum a few days. But most of my trades I close them the same day or sometimes a few days, but I'm more in lower time frame. That can change if the market changes, but we have been in a choppy bear market. So then I just like to take my profits quickly. The most epic legendary setup. Ooh, yeah, the most epic legendary setup. The one I remember that hurt me a lot, and I missed, was Pepe. Welcome, by the way, Michael. Good to see you. I cannot explain or pronounce your last name, but I will try it. Michael Sirigidis. Probably wrong, but okay, let me quickly show that most legendary trade, which was not at all legendary because I missed it before it went crazy. And then I will explain quickly gold. Michael, congratulations with your trade. I longed it here today. I had my stop right there. And then I took full TP right here because it was a news trade. So then every free money I get out. But I expect the price to travel towards this supply. And right now, price is pushing up. And I know multiple guys in the Discord are long from this accumulation. So good to see this playing out in their direction. And I know Michael or Michael took it. So hopefully this travels higher. However, this is a clean supply. Let me first quickly explain why I, for example, took this long here. That was because we had a super clean accumulation. It was yesterday during, at that time I was at the training. I was not looking actively at the charts anymore. So then I keep an eye on Bitcoin, but not on gold. But we had a 1, 2, 3 model 1 going over into model 2. Here internal breaker structure. Here a breaker structure, creating clean demand. Let's see on which time frame. Yeah. So here 5-minute OBIM created, price breaking structure again. Coming back for the demand mitigation right here. Bam. Push up. So this would have given several entries. First and most aggressive one being here. Second one being here or after this break. So then you can enter here, here or here. And after this mitigation, you could enter it also somewhere around here. But this is just super clean accumulation with here a signal that big player is accumulating. So I have seen more often times that I was seeing clean accumulated behavior, and then before news I stepped out of the trade, scared to be wiped out. But this time I thought clear intent by the market maker to accumulate here. We had local super clean buy side liquidity trail right there. We took the lows right here, there, and there. And this was the protected Wyckoff low. So I was like, why not just before he knew, which was here, just take the trade towards this, which was 2.5R, and it's now playing out super clean. But this in itself was not a clean model, but in context with this being probably protected low, and this came pretty close, so the RR was worth it. And we had this clean return to zone, super clean trade. What is BTC doing? So we are at hour 15 now. I think we can start breaking higher from here, but again, this is very scalping. But I think this soon will do this, this, and then start ranging and then show something. But I will go back to showcasing if I can find it. Yeah, when was that? Could that be here or here? I think it was before this huge bump. Could it have been here? I don't know. It was a accumulation model that I was super hesitant to take, or it was from here. I don't know, but at least it came. I was like on the low time frame and I was ready to pull the trigger. Maybe it was right like here. This is on the 12-hour time frame, but it was like super low time frame. And then I wanted to click, and I was hesitating for a moment, and that at that moment price went higher, and I was like, shit. I wanted a little lower to step in, and then I saw this, and that keep on going till here. And that one was really painful. This was like a here to that first impulse was 240% up, and I was literally taking it with a super tight stop loss, so that would have been a over 100 RR trade. Okay, ETH is bouncing from that extreme refined demand. If anyone has a question, ask me now, because for me there's not much more to do here. The plans are pretty clean. I know what I want to see, but I probably not sure if I will trade today. Main expectation also for ETH is to start ranging between these levels. Reclaim above this supply and we go for all this liquidity right here. But lose this key demand and there's nothing till here. Sol, don't like it. For ETH, yeah, for BTC, plan is clear. Gold, bullish until proven otherwise. And what is USDT showing? So this came into clean supply, which is 4-hour supply. It's also near the 4-hour downtrend. So this is a important level. Until proven otherwise, you could expect lower high for lower low. However, here we a bit similar as to what Bitcoin did with the deviation above. This has potential, this range deviation acceptance back in the range. So it could also happen that we see this. So let's see if we have acceptance in the value area. Yeah. So technically, we also broke structure here from 1 hour back to bullish. So this is a rejection zone, which makes me interested in potential longs after confirmation, of course. But the key level to watch is break above here. You probably go for all this liquidity because you invalidate supply and you also break 4 hour or more or less this structure back to bullish. And for the retest, this whole zone is super interesting because this was our potential or deviation, left demand behind at the range low. So if this was the deviation, then you should hold here for higher, break back below here, and then can look for either model 1 or just bearish continuation. Let's see, potentially we are breaking internal structure right now. First sign of strength. They say no trade will change your life, except this one now. Yeah, not no trade should, not a single trade should indeed change your life, but some trades will stay with you. Just like I know that I traded, that I shorted FTX, or was looking to short it before the crash. I literally had the bearish tier 3 on my chart, and then it all played out right in front of my eyes. Or with Luna, a lot of stuff like that. Would be amazing if we get that pullback on USDT to 7.6-ish. Let's see what is 7.6. Yeah. 7.6 is the, and here super clean 1 hour demand left behind. So a retest of that range low / 1 hour demand can definitely be a super interesting level to look for bounces. For now, I see Bitcoin breaking up. There you can look, are we creating demand zones? Kind of, we leave local demand here and local demand there. So you can look for potential scalps right here. But oftentimes it's important to zoom out and see what is structure. And then I see that probably even if you do this, it's likely gonna range here for a bit before the next move. So I'm not in a hurry at all to get in here. This is my main chart now. Main expectation is to range between here, compress maybe more into the weekend, and then get like or like first move, fake move, probably. So that's what I'm looking for. Then I think it's time to wrap up the stream. And I hope to see you guys all in the Discord, even if you are only in the free Discord. There's also value there. But from there, I will also, if you look at the public posts, here just a lot of value. So definitely worth it. And I love to see a lot of people in there already. So for now, I want to wish everyone a happy weekend. Enjoy your time. Don't be glued to the screens too much because Iran and I don't know what is all going on right there. But crypto will again be the only tradable market. And as we know, they like to do the crazy stuff during the weekend. So a lot can happen. So for me, I almost never trade on Saturday because that's my rest day where I football and just don't watch the charts too much. And then Sunday, slowly starting, but basically Monday to Friday, because it should not be your life 24/7, 7 days a week. That won't help you in your performances neither. So thanks everyone, and have a happy weekend. And thanks for all the kind messages in the chat once again. Cheers.